Okay, let's just dive right into this. If you're a developer right now in 2025, you've definitely noticed this massive industry-wide shift toward AI-first coding workflows, right? It's everywhere. But running just underneath all of that is this bizarre mystery that has literally left developers scratching their heads, scouring Reddit, and questioning the very tools they use every single day. I'm talking about OpenAI's Codex. It is the invisible engine powering the most advanced development environments we have today, and yet somehow nobody seems to agree on what it actually is, where it went, or how you're even supposed to use it. So in this explainer, we're going to completely unpack the confusion, look at the hard data, and figure out how you can actually harness this engine for your own code base.
To unravel this whole thing, we kind of have to start with the most basic question possible. What exactly is Codex? If you jump into developer communities today, especially places like the r/ChatGPT coding subreddit, you'll see developers actively and sometimes heatedly debating this. Some people claim they use it daily, saying it massively boosts their productivity. And then you have others who confidently state that Codex simply doesn't exist anymore. It's a really fascinating disconnect. Think about it. How can a foundational piece of the modern AI engineering stack be the subject of so much intense debate?
Well, the sheer amount of misinformation out there is staggering. Just to give you an idea, in a recent Reddit thread, a user earnestly asked what Codex was, and another user replied with this exact quote, "Codex is a name of cookies my grandma makes." Now, okay, as funny as that is, it perfectly highlights the widespread confusion we're talking about. When the actual software engineers using OpenAI's tools can't even agree if the product is a cutting-edge coding model or a baked good, you know there's a serious communication gap.
But honestly, the confusion isn't entirely human error. Sometimes it's literally an AI hallucination. When developers started asking ChatGPT Pro what Codex means today, ChatGPT itself replied that the old Codex models were retired. It explicitly stated that those endpoints were shut down back in March 2023, telling users Codex is no longer a selectable model. I mean, if the AI itself is telling you the product is dead, it makes absolute sense why everyone thinks it disappeared. But as you'll see, the reality is actually quite different.
So, here is the actual truth. Codex isn't dead, not even close. It's simply evolved. As of 2025 and moving into 2026, Codex is the specialized coding mode of the GPT-5 family. It's just no longer a standalone, separate product with its own dedicated little button on a web interface. Instead, it has been deeply, deeply integrated. It serves as the invisible engine for AI-first developer workflows. It's the powerhouse churning away behind the scenes whenever you ask your AI to do heavy lifting in your code.
Understanding the history here clears up the confusion pretty instantly. Back in 2021, Codex was the original model that powered GitHub Copilot and those early AI pair programming tools. Then, fast forward to March 2023, and OpenAI did in fact shut down the standalone specific API endpoints, like Code DaVinci 002. That specific event is what confused ChatGPT and sparked all those Codex is dead rumors. But in 2025, it's been completely reborn. It didn't go away. Its code training and specific capabilities were just baked right into GPT-5, creating this incredibly seamless, integrated coding agent.
Section 2. Codex Reborn in 2025.
So where does this invisible engine actually live today? Well, there are 5 official methods developers are currently using to tap into modern Codex. First, directly inside the ChatGPT Plus or Enterprise interface, it just activates automatically when you paste code or upload a repository. Second, inside the Cursor AI IDE. Third, through the official OpenAI Codex command line interface for local file editing. Fourth, via the OpenAI API by specifying Codex-oriented parameters. And fifth, through Codex-powered GitHub review apps that give you PR summaries and inline suggestions.
Let's look a little closer at one of the absolute most popular access points right now. Cursor AI IDE has quickly become a top environment for Codex-based work. It's an editor-first workspace, which means you aren't just endlessly copying and pasting from a separate chat window. When you use Cursor, Codex operates entirely under the hood. You just hit Command-K, ask it to make your changes, and Codex analyzes your entire repository context in the background to propose multi-file diffs. It is a brilliant example of Codex working exactly as that invisible engine.
Now, before you go trying to generate a million lines of code, we do need to talk about constraints. 30 to 50. That is roughly how many heavy coding tasks you can do per hour if you're using Codex through a standard ChatGPT Plus subscription. You have to remember, long context code refactors consume a massive amount of computing power. If you hit these soft limits, the model's kind of going to pump the brakes. It'll temporarily slow down or defer your tasks.
Because heavy code ops eat your quota fast, doing massive long context refactors will definitely make you feel that cap quickly. However, if you upgrade to the business or enterprise tiers, the throughput is drastically higher. We're talking roughly 3 to 4 times the capacity. And more importantly, those higher tiers unlock true repository-wide reasoning and large file capabilities. It literally allows the AI to understand the entire architecture of your project all at once.
Section 3. Your new coding agent, Codex Superpowers. Okay, so knowing how to access Codex is great and all, but what does an AI software engineering agent actually do well in the real world, like day to day? Well, it isn't just a glorified autocomplete tool anymore. It has some very distinct superpowers. It excels at surgical refactors, meaning it can jump into existing logic and just cleanly rewrite it. It's fantastic at splitting massive tangled monoliths into modular services. It is virtually unparalleled at legacy code migration. Think about the headache of upgrading Python 2 to Python 3 or translating an old AngularJS app into modern React. Codex handles that beautifully. And of course, it's incredibly reliable for generating tests with fixtures and debugging really complex algorithmic failures.
To really grasp the depth of these superpowers, just think about a real-world prompt like this. Refactor this 4K line express router into modular controllers and services. Add JS doc and validation. Think about how long that would take a human developer to do manually. Hours, maybe days of really tedious, brain-draining work? With Codex, particularly when you run it inside an environment like Cursor, the model analyzes all 4,000 lines, understands your intent, and returns a complete multi-file diff that refactors the entire architecture, fully documented. That is the true power of repository-level reasoning. It's wild.
Section 4. The Ultimate AI Stack. Codex plus UI Bakery.
But as amazingly powerful as Codex is, modern developers are realizing it's really just one half of a complete workflow. Think of Codex as the foundation. Its specialty is code-level reasoning. Its focus is heavily on backend logic, deep refactors, and algorithmic bug fixing. But on the flip side, we have UI Bakery, which is a highly popular AI app generator. Its specialty is generating entire applications, specifically the front-end UI, dashboards, database bindings, and visual workflows. So, Codex operates deep in the code trenches, while UI Bakery operates way up at the user-facing application layer.
Ultimately, you wouldn't use a hammer to drive a screw, right? The winning formula in 2025 is totally a hybrid approach. You use Codex, whether that's through ChatGPT, the CLI, or Cursor, to perform those surgical refactors, write out your backend logic, and clean up your data architecture. And then, once that's solid, you step out of the code entirely and use UI Bakery's AI agent to instantly generate the user-facing front end, connect all the APIs you literally just built, and automate the user workflows. And why do you combine them? Because of this number, 2. Just 2 minutes. That is the average amount of time it takes to generate and deploy a full app front end and dashboard using UI Bakery. While heavy UI generation might totally eat up your Codex quota and hit token limits if you tried to force it to code it line by line, offloading the visual and workflow layers to a tool like UI Bakery just bypasses those limits entirely. It is quite literally the ultimate synergy.
So, we've solved the mystery. Codex didn't disappear at all. It just evolved into the ultimate invisible coding agent inside GPT-5, ready to surgically refactor your backends and migrate those stubborn legacy code bases. And when you combine that kind of raw programmatic power with a rapid front-end generator like UI Bakery, you essentially have an entire engineering team sitting right at your fingertips. So I want to leave you with this thought. If Codex writes the complex code in the background, and UI Bakery instantly builds out the visual interface, what will you build tomorrow? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will definitely see you in the next one.